everyone, welcome to SkyPi News. So I am here with a special guest. This is Celton. What was your last name? Oh, I don't know if you want to share it, but that'd be fine. So yeah. So we met from the storm chasing season this last year. He helped me with a little bit of drone recovery, but he actually went and drove all the way up from Florida and surveyed the damage from the Mayfield tornado. And the surveys are nearing, they're way more complete than they were last year. I don't know how close they are to being complete anytime soon. So we'll be talking about the Longtrack EF4 Tornado, and the news came out just before I went live last week. It turned out to be 2 tornadoes. It lifted a little bit, kind of skirted the ground a little bit in northwestern Tennessee, and so it turned out to just be 2 EF4s and not one Longtrack one. So that original record in 1925 for the tri-state tornado, that one still holds the record for the longest tornado as it stands now. And so we'll be covering the surveys from those events. We'll also be diving into another tornado outbreak that spawned from, we had a Derecho event covering many states, including like Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota. I think it even went into Wisconsin and all that stuff. So and then we might have a little bit more footage from here in Colorado of that crazy severe wind event that we had here, since that was all related. But so we'll be diving into the Mayfield tornado and like the whole supercell first, and we'll be diving into that in a sec here. So, but first, Celton, I guess let's go ahead and start. Let's get everyone to learn about who you are. How did we meet? So how was it that you first came to, how we first showed up storm chase together? Oh, hang on. One second. Apparently I don't have people that... Darn it, apparently they can't hear you. Thank you, Jazto, for doing that. For some reason that the audio thing actually messed up here. So audio input, there we go. I don't know why, right before I went live, there you were. Okay, go ahead and say something, Celton.
Hi there.
Okay, great. There he is, everyone. Okay, go ahead and repeat the first thing that you said when I first introduced you, when there was... what were the towns that you went to go check out?
So I visited most of the major towns that got hit in Kentucky by that second very violent tornado. The first one I visited was Dawson Springs, but that's besides the point. Going in order from when they got hit by the tornado, I visited Mayfield, Princeton, Dawson Springs, and Bremen.
Oh, gotcha. So you got a lot of, you checked out several places there then, huh?
Yeah.
All right, great. Okay, so go ahead and start retelling that story again now that I've got your audio working.
All right, so I had been watching your channel for quite a while. By the time I had actually went out and storm chased for myself, I had been studying weather for years, but I finally went out, and then sure enough, I saw that there was a little post on your community tab saying that you had lost a drone in the Celton tornado. I think it was 2 days before. But yeah, and you're just looking for anybody who had a drone, and I just so happened to have a Mavic Air 2.
Nice.
So me and one of my buddies, Chris, we went out to kind of assist you in helping to try to find that drone, and it led to quite an interesting storm chase.
Yeah, that was really nice. So we weren't able to find the drone because I'm pretty sure the tornado went right above where it crashed. But it put us in great position to for the storm chase that day. So we ended up meeting with one of his other buddies, Chris, too, and we all went on a storm chase together. So it'll be a little bit before I get that video posted, but I'm super excited because that was a great storm chase. And we were in a way better position than most of the other chases because they were all down south, and we're like, should we join them? We're like, no, not sure. Let's watch it for a little bit. So all right, anyway, so let's go ahead and dive into some of the surveys that they have on here. So the National Weather Service put together a summary for the whole event on here, and actually for just the first part of it, just to show you guys how crazy this whole thing was. So right here is the damage assessment toolkit again. So there's way more data on here as well. So we've got all of these tornado damage indicators as well. And then up here, this did not include it, but actually I was finally able to download the KMZ files. So I can zoom out up here, and here's the tornado outbreak from the Derecho event. So looks like the tornadoes weren't too crazy. We had one EF2 up there. But let's go ahead and start out with what the National Weather Service has told us about this first Longtrack EF4 Tornado. So go ahead and read the first paragraph of that summary event on here that they have. Do you have that pulled up on there, Celton?
Yeah, so Longtrack, December 10th through 11th, long-lived supercell thunderstorm.
Yeah, let's see. Do you have the whole paragraph on there as well?
All right, so NWS storm damage summaries. So on December 10th into the early morning hours of December 11th, the National Weather Service confirmed 66 tornadoes, several of which were long-track tornadoes, and they seemed to travel from Arkansas up towards the Great Lakes. 2 significant tornadoes developed along that long-track storm, both being rated EF4.
Do you have it pulled up on your screen, or is it? Are you looking at it through Discord?
I seem to be having some sort of problem with it.
I can take over if you like.
Yeah, sure, go ahead. I'm having a problem with my browser.
All right, sure thing. So, tracking on the National Weather Service confirms 66 tornadoes as of today, and several long-track tornadoes. The storms traveled from Arkansas towards the Great Lakes. The most significant damage occurred in Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, and Kentucky. 8 states reported tornadoes during the event. The National Weather Service received nearly 400 reports of large hail damaging wind tornadoes across the area. The Storm Prediction Center continued to monitor the potential for severe weather over the several days in advance of the event and issued outlooks highlighting the area of concern 3 days before the storms developed. On the morning of the event, the Storm Prediction Center upgraded the outlook to a moderate risk and called for strong tornadoes. Several hours before the worst thunderstorms formed. The National Weather Service forecast and watch continued throughout the day and the evening. The warnings were issued and lead times were well above average. Interesting. Well, I guess since the supercells were so long track, it would be so much easier to do it. So, and
yeah, certainly.
And so that probably helped him. One of the most extraordinary aspects of this severe weather event was the long-lived nature of the tornado-producing thunderstorms. In particular, 2 supercells each traveled well over 100 miles, producing tornadoes along the way before dissipating well after dark. So here's a little lightning loop that they have from Ghost 16 on here as well, showing the line of storms. This was after, like, the supercell. I think that was it right there, near the beginning. And so that's the event, and this is a cool graphic that has been tossed around quite a bit of all of the supercells, or of the supercell. So this is a composite of the evolution of it. So this is where Mayfield was, and Princeton. And did you go any farther than Princeton?
Yes, I did make it all the way up to Dawson Springs and Bremen.
Gotcha. Okay. So Madisonville and up to Louisville. So, but it wasn't dropping tornadoes when it hit around Louisville. All right. So let's dive into the first survey here, and so the Memphis one. So do you have that pulled up there, Celton?
Let's pull that over.
Yeah. So here we go.
Right.
I've got the. So Memphis actually covers well into Arkansas here. So go ahead and read their summary of the event. There might be a little bit of overlap between the two. So
yeah, December 10th through 11th, 2020 tornado outbreak. Yeah. So here's the synopsis. An ominous signal for severe weather was apparent across the Mid-South leading up to tornadoes on December 10th through 11th. A strong upper-level trough was approaching from the west, providing strong lift with an unseasonably warm and unstable air mass. Temperatures warming to near 80 degrees during the afternoon hours aided instability with a strong wind field, providing the vertical wind shear needed for organized thunderstorms. The instability wasn't extreme, but it was more than adequate to sustain strong updrafts.
Hmm.
Mean layer CAPE was maximized at 1,500 to 2,000 joules per kilogram at 6 p.m., which was around the time that the initial supercell began to affect the Mid-South.
Gotcha. Yeah, so just for clarification, about 1,500 to 2,000. I believe it was Skip Talbot that says that you need about 1,000 CAPE for a tornado. Do you agree with that statement, Kelton? That's about the
Yes,
temperature? Okay, gotcha.
they can occur with less than that, but typical thunderstorm development
Mm-hmm.
for supercells, you need more than 1,000.
Yes. Oh, and by the way, thank you so much for the $1, Rob Mendes. Thank you, appreciate that. Anyway, continue, Kelton. So.
Alrighty.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, strong winds at the surface and aloft provided the wind shear necessary for organized severe weather. Effective bulk shear was around 70 knots across most of the Mid-South, while the effective storm relative helicity was in the range of 300 to 400 meters squared per second squared. The combination of these key ingredients suggested the likelihood of severe weather during the event and overnight period. This threat would be particularly enhanced if any supercells developed in the open warm sector ahead of the overnight complex with
Which
the cold
one
front.
certainly did.
Yep. That storm was isolated for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's see here. I'm getting a little bit... Okay, lost. No, thank you. So we've got that as well. All right. Go ahead and continue to the next paragraph. I'll follow along with you.
Gotcha. The first supercell developed in central Arkansas around mid-afternoon and moved into Poisonet County. Sorry if I butchered that. And around 6 p.m. This lone storm had a robust convective environment all to its own. The first tornado touched down near Weiner at 6:40 p.m., primarily felling trees through though one home sustained damage due to a falling tree. As the storm moved northeast, a second tornado occurred south of Jonesboro, damaging a rice factory. Around this time, the mesocyclone cycled and the storm produced a pair of concurrent tornadoes
Yeah,
to
that
the
was
west of the
interesting. The
bay.
twins.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there was
Storm rotation
another
intense.
one.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. There was another one that even touched down. I guess this must have been later in the event. So, but we might cover that a little bit later. Sorry, continue.
Storm rotation intensified as the supercell passed to the east of Jonesboro, with the tornado increasing in size and strength as it moved across the northern portions of Manette. Numerous structures sustained significant EF3 damage, including a nursing home where one resident was killed.
Oh yeah,
This
I
storm remained
remember
very...
that. That was when you texted me about it when the nursing home got hit. I wonder
Yeah,
if
it was really sad to watch happen.
Yeah, that's crazy. So let me see if I can find that photo on here. Oh yeah, here it is. This is the nursing home. I remember seeing this from some of the images. So at least at this point, at least the building wasn't leveled. I mean, this is still disastrous for them, but there was one fatality at that nursing home. Am I right about that?
Yes, they reported one fatality.
Okay, go ahead and continue.
This storm remained very intense as it crossed the county line and it affected the northern extent of Leechville. A second fatality occurred at the Dollar General, with other structures sustained heavy damage.
Not the Dollar General! Oh man, my sister and I are always joking because this is probably the third time that we have seen Dollar Generals get hit by tornadoes over the last
It does seem to happen a lot.
They're just everywhere. Anyway, so... let's see. I wonder EF3 damage here. Let's see, what's this building? Oh, big warehouse. All right, go ahead.
Additional significant damage occurred from this cell as it moved through Dunklin and Pemiscot counties. Numerous homes were damaged and utility poles snapped as the storm crossed south of Hornersville and north of Steele. Several houses were completely destroyed. Oh my goodness, these names. In the Braggadocio area, with a third fatality was reported. Several other significant injuries occurred in this area as well.
Yeah, there was some reports of like EF3 damage. Oh, is this a power line? Oh yeah, that thing's all twisted and mangled there.
Yeah, it takes quite a bit of energy to bend solid steel like that.
Okay, go ahead.
The tornado maintained intensity as it split Haiti and Curthersville, making a few passes over the meandering Mississippi River. The tornado debarked trees in central Lake County and finally struck Sandburg area and Reelfoot Lake. There were 4 fatalities in this area with an unknown number of injuries. This tornado dissipated a few miles north of Sandburg, leaving an 80-mile trail of destruction with a path width of up to 1 mile at some
Wow, the
points.
first one was 80 miles long?
extremely long track. This long track tornado was rated EF4 with maximum winds of 170 miles per hour. It was responsible for 7 deaths and numerous injuries.
Wow. Yeah, here's some of the EF4 damage. Looks like there was only just one instance here. Yeah, they're doing close-ups of the construction in this particular photo. Let's see the other one here as well. And yeah, oh yeah, that's a, and you're seeing foundations swept clean. That's a bad sign. So, all right. Does it talk about any of these EF0s as it dissipated?
Let's see.
Let's take a look at what we've got around here. Preliminary damage EF0. Oh yeah, okay, so it's there's, okay, this list is long here. All right.
Yeah, it just looks to be the National Weather Service's quick event summary. There doesn't appear to be too much information.
Gotcha. All right, then how about let's move on to the next one, the Paducah National Weather Service, and let's pick up where they left off, and let's go through that. Go ahead and read that overview at the top of that tornado event, and I'll pull.
On the evening of Friday, December 10th, 2021, a potent storm system moving across the central United States resulted in widespread severe weather across the region, including a significant long-track tornadoes. National Weather Service storm teams found a violent EF4 tornado began in far northwest Tennessee and moved across western Kentucky, resulting in significant destruction to portions of the region. Preliminary findings indicate high-end EF4 damage occurred in western Kentucky,
high-end.
while the tornado was on the ground for 128 miles within the WFO Paducah forecast area. The total path length was 165.7 miles.
Oh, so that was like twice as long as the first one.
Extremely long track, including the damage to Breckinridge County, Kentucky, within Weather Forecast Office Louisville coverage area, and the starting point into Obion County, Tennessee, within WFO Memphis's coverage area. Another long track EF3 tornado with estimated peak winds of 160 miles per hour started in Dyer County, Tennessee, traveled 122.7 miles through northwest Tennessee and into Christian and Todd counties in western Kentucky.
Alrighty, so let's pick out the information from the EF4. So, and yeah, go ahead and read this one. This is a super brief summary of the long track EF4 tornado, but go ahead and pull that up while I look at some of the damage.
Sure. A historic long track tornado entered western Kentucky from Tennessee shortly before 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. The small community of Case, Kentucky, in Fulton County was struck directly. The tornado continued northeast through Mayfield, Kentucky, about 9:25 to 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, where it produced widespread destruction. After moving through Mayfield, the tornado passed on the northwest edge of Benton around 9:45 p.m. and then across the Land Between the Lakes National Recreation Area. The tornado continued across the Princeton area in Caldwell County, then passed through Dawson Springs around 10:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. The tornado crossed the Green River, which marks the eastern edge of the Paducah National Weather Service coverage area, before reaching Beaver Dam, Kentucky, around 11:20 p.m.
Gotcha. Okay, well, this is probably a good spot to show everyone some of the footage that you got on there. So I'll have to tweak the OBS settings a little bit, but if you want to go ahead and pull that up and start screen sharing, then I'll show what you got there in Mayfield. And actually, while you're doing that, I've got another video that I did not show last time. And this is one of a bank being destroyed. So the, let's see, this was the FNB Bank. So this is right across the street from the courthouse. And so, although their video is pretty crummy, I believe when it started getting picked up by the news and whatnot, then they were able to get a handle of a much better security cam footage. So the footage doesn't last long, it cuts out, and so we go to the next camera here, but here it comes, and smash! Just completely devastates it. Here's another angle as well. Let me throw the link in the chat for you guys. And, oh. So this building didn't get completely demolished here, but let's see. Here's the next one. That's the one I'm playing. There you guys. So if you guys want to pull that up. So that is I was wondering when we were going to finally start seeing security cam footage of this one. So, and Celton has footage of it from the air, so we'll be able to take a look at that in a second here. Anyway, let me pull up this now that we've got this whole screen here, and let me drag this over here as well and shrink it down. And okay, go ahead and start, Celton. So the first, yeah, and just describe the footage as you're seeing it.
Okay, so this is looking west into Mayfield as I was flying over it, and just the damage was just nothing short of catastrophic. It was honestly really sad to see.
Mm-hmm. Is this
So
just
we're
the
flying.
YouTube video? Sorry, it's being a
Yeah,
little
do you want me
compressed.
to pull it up on my on the documents?
Okay, that's your footage. Let me pull it up here because it is a little compressed on my end. So it was working fine before when we tested it, but let me pull that up from you. And let's see. So go ahead and just let me know when to pause it and whatnot, and I will show everyone it as well. And
Alrighty.
and I will also post the link in there if you guys would like to take a look at that as well. Okay, anyway, here it is. Do you see it?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, wrong screen. Wrong screen. Okay, here we go. Let me skip your summary a little bit. Okay, here we go. Oh wait, am I sharing the? Yeah, you got that right, Celton. Let me pull.
I'd like to check something real quick.
All right. So
There
let me.
we go.
Okay, are you good?
Yeah, I can see.
All right, there we are. Okay, so here's the first set of the video. So go ahead and describe. Go ahead and describe what you were thinking when you first sent the drone up in the air.
I honestly didn't even know what to expect at first because I had driven through some of the damage path on my way in, but I didn't even have a clear picture of just the total devastation that I was going to see until I sent it up. But it was honestly, it was hard to look at.
Mm.
But this is on approach into Mayfield, and as we get closer and closer to the central part of the city, you're going to see just how destructive this tornado was. The core of the tornado came very, very close to the main part of town.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, trees down everywhere. Man, I would almost feel guilty if like my house was still standing and like the neighbor's house was just destroyed. Yeah, so man, it was hard enough seeing the Celton, Kansas tornado going through town. Because that was only an EF1 tornado, so I can't fathom what it must be like to see this in person for all this destruction here. Let's see, is there another part that you'd like me to skip to?
Sure. Go ahead and just skip ahead a little bit.
Okay. Let's go up over here. Oh, yeah, right here. So here's the bank that was hit. So this is probably why we still have security camera footage, is because, the building is still standing, mostly. And it probably either just cut the power to the security cameras or the lines were severed to it.
Yeah, so as we're on approach, you're going to see a lot of EF4 level damage indicators.
Gotcha. This is the courthouse, right?
Yes.
Gotcha. Let's see. Was there any other buildings that were of note that that you can talk about that you got to see firsthand?
Yeah. It's a little hard to see. I didn't notice it at first, but as we approach, you're going to see a structure that I'm not even sure how to describe it. It kind of looks like a courthouse, but it's actually a church, and that's actually where the highest damage indicator in Mayfield comes from. It was rated EF4 for 190 miles per hour.
Let me see if I can pull that up here, because I remember what you're talking about. And
yeah, let me see if I can give you a time stamp.
But I was surprised when that was the highest one, because the building is still standing decently. And I can find it here. Let's see here. Do you remember at what point in the video it showed up?
418.
Awesome. Great. So I just missed it then. Oh, yeah,
So
there
right
it
there,
is.
you can see it right there.
Mm-hmm.
That building on the lower right of your screen is where they recorded a 190 per hour damage indicator.
Okay, so that was just shy of an EF5. So you were saying that, or that, do you think there's still a chance that they could give us an EF5 tornado?
It's still possible, but given that it's been as long as it has been, I do not think that they're going to give it that rating.
Okay, gotcha.
There's a lot of damage here that is clean swept slabs, but the way that the National Weather Service surveys damage using the enhanced Fujita scale, it depends on the quality of the construction of the home.
Mm-hmm. Right, that makes sense.
Which many structures in this area are not well constructed enough to get that rating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so here's another view of the bank there that you can see where the windows would have been bashed in on the front there. So, alrighty, let's see, what else do you have here? Oh yeah, let's go over the, this was unbelievable here. Just, seeing damage is one thing, but this just lets you see what this beast really looked like. So go ahead and tell me when you first saw this show up on your screen.
I couldn't believe it, but what you're looking at as the tornado became so intense here that it actually scarred the earth. What you're seeing is ground scouring into the soil. And if you look a little farther ahead, you can actually see cycloidal marks where the subvortices within the parent tornado are moving in circles around the parent vortex.
Right. That is nuts, because the tornadoes that I've seen so far, you just see a little bit of grass down. You have to really be looking forward to see it. This is just so obvious what this thing was.
Yeah, it's difficult for me to believe.
Mm-hmm. So one interesting thing that I'm seeing here is, so we've got these swirls here that make sense, but it looks like that there are some edges on the other side of the tornado. Can you describe what you think was going on there?
I'm not sure, to be honest. It might just be the southern edge of the tornado, and given that the tornado was moving northeast, the strongest winds from the tornado would be on the southern side, given that it's basically added to whatever forward motion the tornado has, adds to the wind speeds compared to the object on the ground. So I'm not sure if that's just the edge of the tornado there, or if that was maybe a satellite tornado that was going along with it. I'm not sure.
Wow. That irrigation equipment is so mangled there. That is way crazier than the irrigation equipment that we saw that was knocked over from the Celton tornado.
Yeah, no, that stuff was lofted and thrown.
Okay,
you can actually see where the tornado has gone through here, where you can see that light coloration and those circular marks off into the distance.
Wow. Let me pull that back up again, just so that you guys can see it. That's crazy. And so this reminds me so much of the supercomputer simulations that Dr. Lee Orff has gotten when he's tracked.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah. When he's tracked the higher velocities on the ground as well. So if you guys ever have a chance, look up Dr. Lee Orff on YouTube and watch one of his lectures. It is amazing how similar he's gotten his simulations to what to actual observations in the field. So let's see.
Yeah, it's truly remarkable.
All right. Before we move on to Dawson Springs, do you've got some photos? Could you pull those up? Those should stream a little bit better over Discord.
Sure. December.
All right. Here's a full screen view that I have of you as well. Let me go ahead and pull up my webcam as well on here. And is it? Oh, it's already on here. Just need to. Oh, hey, there I am. Hello, everyone. So, so this, you haven't seen any damage worse, this crazy, have you, before? Oh, there's
no. This was the first time that I had seen damage like this. The strongest tornado damage that I had seen before this was actually the Brent Centerville tornado in Alabama earlier that year.
Oh, was that one of the high-risk days?
Yeah, it was the EF3 tornado that went through Alabama.
That's right. I remember that now. All right, so go ahead and describe what you're seeing here.
All right, so what you're looking at is just a completely slabbed home. Everything is gone. And this right here was rated for, I think, 188 miles per hour, an EF4.
Hmm.
Now, you may be thinking, well, it's completely slabbed, and you can see that there's significant damage to the trees behind it. Why didn't it get an EF5 rating? And if you look closer at this, you can see that the house isn't well enough constructed
Mm-hmm.
to warrant an EF5 rating. So this was rated high-end EF4 damage, but you can see it's just complete devastation.
Gotcha.
This is just nuts.
Looks like that
So,
the winds didn't quite hit that car, or I guess the winds were coming from the front, or at least by the time it took the damage, because I'm seeing way more damage on the front than I am on the sides. I mean, aside from the windows and whatnot. Although, I guess that door was probably closed by the time the tornado hit it, huh?
yeah. So you can see there is some debris, but I'm not sure if the glass here caved in from debris hitting it, or if it was the
Mm-hmm.
force of the wind itself that just pushed it in.
Yeah.
But you can see if you look closely, there's a piece of wood that's actually embedded in the
Mm-hmm.
glass.
Gotcha.
That's just
Yeah.
nuts.
All right, what else do you have here? More slabs and stuff.
Yeah, it's just apocalyptic scenes of
Mm-hmm.
destruction.
I can't imagine seeing that stuff. Like, especially with Christmas here in a few days. Just, like, it's kind of interesting. Like, I've been, watching all these videos and photos of some of this devastation, and a lot of people are, and you, like, change the channel on the TV, and it's just like, life is normal, but not for these people.
Hmm.
Wow.
And this is just a prime example of why you cannot stay in a mobile or manufactured home in a tornado warning like this. It will just completely destroy it. And this
Mm-hmm.
was only rated for EF2 damage here.
Wow.
So just completely unsafe. You have to leave if you're in a mobile home
Mm-hmm.
or manufactured home. Just more craziness. You can see right here, this is the remnants of a small boat, another car that's been tossed,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get to that in a second.
Gotcha.
Just a truck that's just
Ooh.
been mangled after being tossed.
Yeah. How far away from the road was that? Or driveway?
I'd probably say this was around 15 yards, but
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea if that's actually where the truck came from.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So this one's been tossed and
Mm-hmm.
just lofted onto the ground.
Man, this cleanup is going to be going on for months.
Yeah. And this is just kind of, tears at your heart a little bit to see stuff like
My
this.
first trampoline! Oh, jeez. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is actually some of the lights that you would see on the interstate when you're going through major cities and stuff. It's just been destroyed and bent
Right.
by the force of the winds. There's a water pipe leaking from some significant tornado damage there. And I'm not sure if it's this building or the one behind it, but this is Mayfield Consumer Products, or at least the area that it occurred in.
Oh, that's right. The candle factory that we were talking about. There was a little bit of, let's see. I know you got some drone footage, just barely. You kind of saw it in the distance. Let me see if I can pull that up on here as well. I believe this is the video just after this part.
Yeah, so this is the area we just looked over in my pictures, but if you see up there, that is Mayfield Consumer Products you see in the distance.
Yep. Let me pull it up here. So, but how come you didn't fly your drone closer?
Actually, because the FAA had issued a temporary flight restriction, TFR, that was
Gotcha.
prohibiting anyone from flying over, and out of respect for what happened there and for obviously staying within the law, I was not willing to fly over it.
Right, yeah. Totally makes sense. All right, I'm back on your photos.
So this is from downtown Mayfield, some just incredible scenes of destruction.
Oh man, that house looked like it looks like just the smallest puff of wind would knock that house over.
So this just kind of goes to show you the contrast that you can get with tornado damage, where this would only be rated an EF0 or EF1 maybe, where you can only get like broken windows and maybe some shingle and some damage to your gutters compared to just complete destruction.
Right.
and I didn't even notice this when I took it, but there's an Elmo doll sitting
Jeez.
on
Yeah, I
the
could have
concrete
sworn
here.
I've seen that in other storm photos as well.
Hmm. So just incredible scenes from
Mm-hmm.
Mayfield.
Yeah, that's crazy. A lot of damage. Yeah, so this town was, to put it in perspective, I think the population is about 10,000 people, so it was a pretty big chunk of the town that got wiped out here. So, all right, how about we take a look at some of your drone foot. Oh, wait, yeah, actually, here, talk about that one. Zoom in on that image there.
All right, so this is in Bremen, Kentucky at this point,
Oh,
which
Bremen,
is
okay.
where I just observed some pretty extreme tornado damage. This is a tree that's been debarked quite a bit, and only the stubs of the largest branches are remaining here, which is pretty high-end tornado damage.
Yeah, so how fast do you think the winds have to be to debark a tree like that?
They have to be at least EF3 strength to do this,
Okay, gotcha.
but that's just a lower bound. This was probably EF. The tornado was at least EF4 strength in here.
Gotcha. All right. Are there any other photos before we get back to the drone footage?
Yeah, I'll just quickly
Okay,
go
great.
over
Yeah.
them. This is just more scenes from Bremen.
Shoo. Wow, teddy bear. And oh, that shot with the sun in the background. It's just so sad. Like it looks so
Just
apocalyptic.
just as far as you could see, just gone.
Yep.
Someone's garage door wrapped around a
That's
tree.
a garage door.
And this one bothered me quite a bit when I saw this. This is a bunch of children's toys that are just
Oh,
gone
wow.
in a pile of debris off of a house that had been slabbed.
Man.
Sun setting over tornado damage. And this is debris that's just been windrowed from a mobile home.
Not a whole lot left. You can barely even tell what it was.
No, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it there.
Gotcha. All right, so let me take a look at some of your other drone footage here. So as we move along, and so Bremen, was that the last city of the day that you saw in there?
Yeah, that was the last one I had time to visit.
All right, so for the sake of time, I'll have to cut through this a little bit. Was there any notable things in your drone footage here?
Yeah, there's a couple of homes in here that I suspect are high-end EF4 damage that have not been rated yet. But I'm not too sure at the moment. I'll have to wait to see what the National Weather Service survey
Yeah, they're
teams believe
still
on that.
putting in damage indicators around. So, oh yeah, here's one that's just like, so this is the foundation over here. This is the house. So to put that into perspective, now it does look like that they have cleared a bunch of it away over to the road where they can load it onto trucks. But I mean, still, that kind of puts it into perspective a little bit. So,
Yeah, and if you skip ahead just a tiny bit, there is some homes that have been cleaned off a little bit less that I suspect are very high-end EF4 damage, but I wasn't able to walk on foot in here to get closer up pictures, so I can't say anything with confidence on
oh, how
that.
come?
They had it blocked off. I didn't want to interfere with anything that they were
Yep.
doing there.
Yep, makes total sense. I've definitely run into those police blockades too, as well. So, and usually they let you in by the next day. So, that's really something that they wouldn't let you in at any point.
Yeah, so right there is where those two homes you see that where only the basement is remaining, and there's a slabbed home to the right. So there's some pretty significant damage there.
Right. So nasty here. So there's the. Was this? Yeah, that's the ground scouring. Dawson Springs. Were there any other significant shots in here that I can look at really quick before we move on?
Yeah, sure.
Let me see. We'll go through it. Oh man, that neighborhood's just devastated.
So if you skip to 1541 in the video.
Okay. 1541. So, yeah. Go ahead and describe
I think
this
you may
then.
have gone a little bit
Oh,
past it,
okay.
actually. A little bit farther back.
Okay.
You're right there. Pause.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're looking at is windrow debris, and if you look closely up towards like the upper left of your screen, you can see there's just a tiny remnant of a foundation. That is a manufactured home
Oh,
that has
man.
just been completely destroyed. And I just want to reiterate, you cannot stay there in a tornado
Mm-hmm.
like this.
That is nuts.
But yeah, that highlights most of what I observed there.
Wow. All right. Let's see. Was there anything else that we can show before we move on to the next survey that you've got footage or photos of? Or was that about?
There's just more like convergent tree damage that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can find a quick screen grab of that.
A quick one. Yeah. Lots of
1805.
1805. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Yeah. This was...
So if you look, you can see in the trees where they're coming together instead of going apart or all in straight patterns. That's what differentiates tornado damage from straight line wind damage. You can see it's all coming to a point.
Right. Makes sense. Yeah, that'll even be good to know for the next time that I send my drone up for the sorry, there we go. Get that out of them. Yeah, so really sad event there. So I appreciate that you guys sticking around us. I know this is a bit of a heavier stream at this point. So, but let's go ahead and pull up. Let me take a look at the Paducah. Some of the... Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and... Actually, yeah, so we got some... We saw most of those photos already. And... Okay, yeah. Let's go ahead and move on to the Longtrack EF3 Tornado from the Paducah survey on here. And go ahead and read that, and I will start. And I'll follow along on Google Earth as well. Get my cameras set up over here. There we go. So this one was an EF3, 13 injuries, so fortunately didn't kill anyone this time. And it was rated an EF3. So, all right, we're starting down here. And so this was the second one. Yeah, the second big supercell that came through. It was kind of all congealing into a line at this point. So I was a little bit worried because this went not too far away from the radar site here in Fort Campbell, because this is the radar is in somewhere around here. Anyway, do you have it pulled up there?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
so second Longtrack EF3, Northwest Tennessee into Western Kentucky.
Right.
Oh, this one's quite a long summary.
Mm-hmm.
The first observed damage was in New Bern near Washington Street. The tornado moved northeast, uprooting and snapping numerous trees along its path. Several homes had significant roof damage. The tornado initially produced EF1 damage, but while progressing northeast, it continued to strengthen to EF3 as it approached Dresden, Tennessee. Several buildings and homes in downtown Dresden suffered significant damage or were completely destroyed. The tornado slightly weakened and moved northeast towards Paris Landing and eventually crossed the Tennessee River. 5 people were injured in West Tennessee. The tornado clipped Fort Donelson National Battlefield area of extreme southeastern Callaway County, Kentucky, where it blew down several trees, then crossed the Tennessee River into the land between the lakes area of Stewart County and did massive tree damage to heavily wooded areas, uprooting thousands of trees along its path. The tornado struck a well-constructed single-family brick home near Bear Creek, where it took off the roof of in top story. It then continued to travel northeast, where it passed Indian Branch and Morgan Branch, where it continued to uproot trees and destroyed some farm outbuildings, lifted the roofs off of some single and double-wide mobile homes, and completely flattened some barns and single-wide structures. The most widespread and severe damage in Stewart County was between Indian Branch and Morgan Branch to the south of Bumpus Mills. The tornado then continued northeast across the far northwest corner of Fort Campbell Army Base, continuing to blow down trees before moving into Kentucky. Tornado received a maximum rating of EF2 in Stewart County, and 4 people were injured. There's quite a bit more to this.
Yeah, go ahead and continue. I'm following along.
The tornado passed just south of the city of Lafayette, Kentucky, where it immediately struck a barn and knocked down several electrical transmission lines. The tornado tracked northeast over mostly open country before causing significant damage to several homes off of Body Road and Darnell Road. More significant damage occurred to several homes, farm outbuildings, and structures on Palmyra Road. Sorry if I
Yeah.
butchered that. A mobile home was completely demolished, and significant roofing damage was done to a brick home on Herndon Oak Grove Road. As the tornado approached Interstate 24, mostly tree damage was observed, with few structures impacted as well. Once the tornado crossed Fort Campbell Boulevard, additional damage to electrical transmission lines was observed, including over a dozen wood poles snapped. The tornado continued northeast, causing mostly tree damage before completely destroying 4 tobacco barns, damaging 3 equipment garages off of Bradshaw Road. 2 other buildings were also heavily damaged, along with multiple silos destroyed. Damage estimates were in the millions, according to the owners, for just this one farm. The tornado then took straight aim for the city of Pembroke, where significant tree damage was observed, along with multiple houses with roof damage. Once the tornado moved out of Pembroke, 2 mobile homes were completely destroyed, with the occupants injured. The tornado then crossed into Todd County, where mostly tree damage and damage to farm and outbuildings were observed. The tornado then lifted just before impacting the city of Elkton, where straight-line winds became dominant. The tornado
Right.
received a maximum rating of EF2 in Christian County and EF1 in Todd County, and 4 people were injured. The next tornado then touched back down just to the east of Todd or Logan County line.
Gotcha. All right, yeah, so that was that one. Fortunately, this EF3 tornado did not do that much damage. So, I mean, it didn't hit like a town. I mean, it came really close to Fort Campbell. I bet they were sweating as that thing was coming. So, if you remember, that was like the one video where it was kind of silhouetted and the gal on TikTok was like freaking out. So, and let's see, that wasn't the one that went on to Bowling Green, was it? Oh, Bowling Green. I do not have that storm survey in here. Let's see if I got it downloaded. And Bowling Green, I think would that have been in the Louisville tornado event? Let's see, where is that? Tornado, we'll skip that one. Yeah, let's take a look at the Louisville the survey and see what they have there as well. The Louisville. There we go.
Just pull that up.
Yeah, they covered it as well. So I'll see if I can get the. Do they have a KMZ file available for download? No, they don't. So I'll see if I can get that downloaded when. So let's skip that summary and let's go right into the. Let's see, which one is it? Okay, yeah, there's an EF3 here. I'm not sure if this is the Bowling Green one, but it's starting in Gordonsville to Haley, Kentucky. So I think it's like the second one on the survey there.
Yeah, they do have the Bowling Green one a little bit farther down as well.
Okay, great. So, okay, cool. So this moves on with it as well. All right, so go ahead and start that when you're ready, and I'll pull up the KMZ file as well. Oops, let me get this out of your face.
Open. All right, Gordonsville to Headley, Kentucky. Supercell that had cycled down its tornado in eastern Todd County, but continued to produce wind damage northeast of Elkton, spun back up again soon after crossing the border into western Logan County. It quickly ramped up to EF3 intensity with a damage swath roughly 3/4 of a mile wide along Milton Sharp Road. On the southern side, a family was home when a 2x4 nearly missed the husband as the roof was being peeled off the middle of the house. That's incredible. On the north side, a large dairy farm was completely destroyed. As the tornado continued northeast, a wide swath of trees was snapped, uprooted along the edge of a forest on the southern edge of the vortex. While on the northern edge, a well-built home had its second floor 2/3 thrown off. A male was in the other section, while a 2x4 from the first floor came up and got lodged in his mattress.
Oh,
Another well-built log cabin in this area lost its second floor roof. The tornado then turned more east-northeast into the Buena Vista Road area. A double-wide manufactured home was completely destroyed here, along with several outbuildings on the property. A male at the home received warning from family and heard the tornado approach, getting into a bathtub in the middle of the east side of the structure. After it hit, the home blew into a row of trees, and the male remembers grabbing onto a tree southeast of the original location. He sustained injuries as medics had to get wood out of his legs. Jeez. The tornado continued. The tornado continued over to Lakewood Lane, where a boy was in the second story of a house when the window imploded inward and moved the bed he was in. After this, the storm crossed US 431, impacting several trees
Okay, down here.
along Highway 1040 with EF1 level winds. It then moved to a row of mobile homes along H.C. Johnson Road. Two of these homes were completely destroyed, with one blown into a row of trees south of its original point and another lifted up and over a tree just east of its original location.
Hoo-wee.
This may have been a mesovortex spinning around the May circulation. The tornado damage was widest at this location, roughly 0.8 miles. On the south side of the tornado, a mobile home was completely destroyed along Highway 915, where it was spread out over the road. The resident was a female whose father insisted she stay the night at his place with a basement after hearing the messaging in the days before. The same mesovortex may have been what caused the collapse of an electrical transmission line just east of Marshall Road, where there was little damage to surrounding trees. Farther north on the road, a well-built brick home had its roof taken off as well as the carport removed. The tornado continued to track along Highway 79 towards Chandler's Chapel area, where the Methodist Church lost its steeple and had damage to several of the stained glass windows. A couple
Not
of
the
homes
stained
had
glass.
major damage here. A resident said he had at least 20 minutes of warning lead time ahead of the touchdown. There was additional damage along Turner Road and then Poplars Road. This survey ended soon after 3 Poplars Road. Another survey was conducted in the far northeast corner of Logan County, where a couple of long chicken barns were leveled. Aerial damage surveys also indicated a damage swath that
More
extends into
chickens,
western
guy.
Warren County
I remember
for a
there
few
was one
miles.
tornado from earlier where some chickens died, and there's just like half of them were dead, and the other were just like walking around, just trying to find food and whatnot. Do you think chickens can experience trauma?
Oh, I'm not sure. They're so fragile.
Right. All right, was that the end of it?
Yeah, that's the end of that survey.
Alrighty. Okay, so let's just move on to the Bowling Green one, and then let's start covering the Derecho event, because this is there's so much that we can cover and so much more that we can dive into. So, but if you guys also want to take a look at this thing, this whole here is the damage survey website that I'm using, and so anyway, let's do the Bowling Green one. You said it was the next one on that survey?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so the survey team found significant damage in the Creekwood subdivision on the southwest side of Bowling Green. Hundreds of homes sustained significant damage. This included exterior walls collapsed, roofs blown off, foundations severely compromised, garage doors blown in, insulation blown on all 4 sides of houses, and garages destroyed. There were hundreds of snapped power lines down throughout the county. Also, trees were uprooted, snapped, and twisted, facing in all directions. Dozens and dozens of cars were flipped, twisted, turned, and thrown into homes. The survey team was able to look at the damage at exit 29 from Huck's gas station at the Corvette plant. A fully loaded 18-wheeler was pushed and slammed about 15 yards in front of a restaurant.
Yeah,
At
we
the
took a look
Corvette
at that
plant,
one
there was
last week.
significant roof damage, with metal sheeting, insulation, and other debris thrown hundreds of yards downwind. One of the security checkpoints at the Corvette plant was totally destroyed, with large sections of the building being thrown several hundred yards, weighing over 100 pounds. The National Weather Service would like to extend our deepest sympathies to the families who lost loved ones and experienced tremendous devastation of their properties.
All right, come to think of it, this is sounding familiar. I think we read that one before, but I'll pull up some of the photos that they have here on the website. So Bowling Green, can you state some of the statistics on there to the left of it, like the fatalities and whatnot?
Yeah, sure. So this is the EF3.
Okay.
It had a path length of about 30 miles, a max width of 440 yards, about a quarter of a mile, and it injured 63 and unfortunately killed 17.
Wow. So was that more deadly than Mayfield, or was Mayfield more?
I think the Mayfield tornado had significantly more, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me pull that up really quick. I want to see. I mean, that was EF4 versus EF3. It kind of makes sense. So, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't much matter though. Death to a tornado is all the same.
Gotcha. Yeah, it looks like about 55 for that one as well. Yeah, so here's some of the radar. We looked at the loop last time. And let me just see if there's any other storm reports, flooding, environment. Ooh, the environment section. Can you pull up the environment? And let's go through that one before we cover the Derecho event.
Gotcha.
So...
A very anomalous storm system produced winter weather across the Rockies, upper Midwest, and Great Lakes region, and severe weather across the mid-Mississippi and Ohio Valley regions. The combination of a warm and moist air environment in place across the Ohio Valley region and a cold front that moved in from the west led to widespread thunderstorm development as the cold front pushed eastward through Missouri, Illinois, and Kentucky. Additionally, a strong low-level jet and low-level wind shear contributed to strong thunderstorms developing that were favorable for tornadoes.
All right, so the following maps show the state of atmosphere just before Bowling Green was struck. So we've got the surface chart here, and the contours show the low pressure system west of Chicago up there. And then the temperature dew points. So dew points well into the 60s. Like in Colorado, we only really need like a dew point of like 35 to get storms going. And so that's a little bit of perspective there. And
yeah, those are unseasonably high dew points, especially for December.
So 300 millibars, so that means where the air pressure is way up at 300 millibars. For perspective, we kind of hover around 1,000 millibars down here on the surface. So this is way high up in the atmosphere. And so let's see, was this the winds? Powerful upper jet shown from the southern plains to the Great Lakes, and 500 millibars, so a little bit lower in the atmosphere, also showing the winds at that point. And wind shear, so wow, oh my goodness, like really, I'm like, okay, that's not too bad when I see 100 meters squared per second squared. So this one we're seeing like up in the 600s. So lots of diverging winds. That if we had a photograph on here, I'm sure that would like show just how much the winds are changing with height. And
yeah, those are ridiculous values for storm relative helicity.
Anyway, sorry guys, we won't nerd out too much here for a little bit. And let's see, what else do we have around here? Cape wasn't too crazy. It was enough to get things going. Significant tornado parameter. Do you ever look at the significant tornado parameter? Like how useful has that been to you?
I do it occasionally, but it's one of the last things I check.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's like a composite of different weather models to get that all working on there. So, let's see, values greater than 1 are significant. This map shows around 7 for the violent tornado parameter.
That's pretty spot on with where the Mayfield tornado went through.
Yeah, so it looks like this it was entering the 5 and 6 territory, and then eventually the 7, although that's when it finally dissipated, so not the be-all, end-all. So, yeah, we could keep going more. There are so many surveys here. Like, here's the link if any of you guys want to nerd out a little bit, because this is the overview, and it has a link to every one of the weather offices here, and there's like 8 of them. So we wanted to get into more of them today, but it is time for us to move on. So there is the link there if you guys would like to check that out. So let's talk about this Derecho event. And this one, this was what we were talking about last week, because it was, sorry, I just gotta reset this a little bit. When things were blowing down all across Colorado, so we were on the western edge of the low pressure system that came through, and so I have a few more videos of that to see, because this is what someone sent into one of our local news stations here from that event, and it was they were driving across Highway 25, and so they're just driving along here, and so they're filming it. They know things are going on with all this crazy wind, and smash. So this was the only shot that I saw of semis getting through. Like, everyone out there, you ought to get some dash cams. Like, you can get a decent one for just like $50 that records front and back. So that's pretty nasty there. And this thing was well forecasted. So like, a great resource to figure out if you're driving in any crazy winds like that, to just get an overview, for example, is weather.gov, because they'll show a big map here of it. And for example, we've got another low pressure system coming through that's going to bring us some more high winds. So for example, for us here in Colorado Springs, we've got high wind warning as well. So you can really easily see where high wind warnings are if you're traveling along a route. And so it's way easier to see what the weather, this is generally speaking day of, and it can give you the, oh hey, they increased it from 65 to 75 miles per hour. So who knows, we might have more flying debris from this week. So
I mean, that's beyond severe thunderstorm criteria.
Yeah, it totally is. So let me pull up here. I've been working on getting this GIF working here. Although the GIFs that I download from the College of DuPage always glitch up on the last frame. So let me just cut those out really quickly. This took like 30 minutes to render, and it's only 10 seconds. So importing GIFs into Premiere is not the most efficient thing. And okay, this is the last one. Okay, so this is the low pressure system. So this is on the east side, and I really wanted to show this from last week. And wait a second, did I show the video? Could you see the video of the semi tipping over? Because I just realized
I'm not sure. I was tabbed onto my second monitor.
Anyway, now I'm on the right one. I'm getting a little spoiled. SisterPi is having a little, it always catches me when I do that, but here's the video of the semi tipping over. So, and
oh,
smash. Yeah, so that was on the interstate right here in Colorado Springs. So it looks like on the north side of town a bit, because we've got a little bit of trees up there. So hopefully there wasn't too much furniture in that truck, because that was nasty. And so I drove along this, and I'd love to show you guys my footage, but I think I counted like a dozen semis when I drove that were all down on there. So here is the GIF that I was talking about that I thought I was showing you guys. So here's the east side of the low pressure system moving in through here. Here's all the dust that's being kicked up. And so here's the Derecho, this big long arc of storms. So Celton, what does it take for a squall line to be considered a Derecho?
It has to have a continuous swath of 250 miles of severe wind damage.
Oh, so basically the whole...
I forget the exact criteria. It's like, is it like 70 mile per hour gusts? But
oh yeah, that would.
But I know that it's over a 250 mile wide swath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this mesoscale floater, I believe this is 1 frame per minute on here. You can see the fires that I mentioned last week out in Kansas. And so we've got some storms on here. Let me pull up the Sioux Falls. So I have the very last link that I have there in the doc. Go ahead and pull that up and go ahead and read the overview.
An unseasonably strong and dynamic winter system brought severe thunderstorms and tornadoes to portions of Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin on Wednesday, December 15th. In addition to this, the region experienced widespread strong winds, which resulted in numerous tree structures and power lines being damaged. To put things into perspective on how rare this event was, it was the first time since record-keeping began in 1986 that our office had to issue both a severe thunderstorm and tornado warning during the month of December, with 6 and 8 issued respectively. In total, this event led to 189 warnings being issued across the central United States, with 118 of those being for severe thunderstorms and remaining 71 being for tornadoes.
Yeah,
that's
so
incredible.
Here's the radar that I pulled up from their office. on here. And so they severed it very early on and then just started issuing tornado warnings left, right, and center. Meanwhile, we're having snow squall warnings appear just, not like maybe like 6 counties to the west. Let's see. Is this? Yeah, snow squall warning.
That's incredible. You can have severe thunderstorm warnings, tornadoes, and snow all in the same day.
Yep. And so this is it continuing. And so lots of tornado reports as they just pop in here. And like we're getting wind reports here, 80 miles an hour. And let's see, I think that was the there's a 90 mile an hour. Train spotter reported 90 mile an hour winds relayed by law enforcement. Reed Timmer was saying that, hey, like a tornado spinning at 20 miles an hour will become an EF1 at the rate these storms are moving, because the extra 20 miles an hour on the south side of the tornado would cause all of this. So
oh yes, for sure. These storms, I know a lot of them were moving at 80 plus miles per hour, which is just ridiculous.
my goodness, like I was tempted to go chase this, but I was like, moving fast, and they started in the daytime, so there would have been something to see. But even then, like I wasn't seeing much more storm chasing footage from this event than I was of the outbreak from last year, from the week prior. So
Yeah, with that kind of setup, there isn't really much chasing it. You kind of just sit there with a catcher's mitt and wait for it to come to you, and then watch as it blast past you.
Right, so let's talk about probably the strongest tornado that they have on here. I believe it was an EF2. Let me search that on here. There were 2 EF2s. Okay, so go ahead and scroll down to the Lawton tornado, and I'll go along that one, and then we'll move on to the next EF2 on there as well.
Gotcha. So the Lawton tornado was giving it a rating of EF2. The tornado touched down along 190th Street, 2 miles northeast of Bronson, and ripped a portion of a roof off a single-family home. The tornado continued northeast across open fields until it hit 2 metal utility transmission towers, resulting in the closure of U.S. Highway 20 due to electrical lines on the road east of Lawton. The tornado continued northward near Fayette Avenue, impacting multiple farmsteads. A few barns and sheds were damaged, along with many broken or snapped tree limbs. A machine shed at one farmstead was completely destroyed, along with a concrete silo and lean-to shed. Multiple power lines were snapped along 140th Street. Minor damage was also noted to shingles on a couple of single-family homes. The tornado eventually lifted near the intersection of 110th Street and Fayette Avenue.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was able to pull up some photos. I didn't quite get the whole KMZ file downloaded for this one. All right, and the next one, I believe, is the Rembrandt tornado. So, Sioux Rapids. Let me see if that one's on here. If I can remember how to spell it. Sioux. Were you able to find that one?
Yes, I have it.
Okay, great. Sioux Rapids.
All right, so this one was also given a rating of EF2. The tornado touched down north of Rembrandt. Power poles snapped between Rembrandt and Sioux Rapids, resulting in power outages. 2 farmsteads had damage to outbuildings, and numerous trees lost branches or were snapped. The tornado ended east of Sioux Rapids near Little Sioux River.
Yeah, so fortunately, some of this tornado damage was very brief and isolated. So let me pull up the damage assessment toolkit, and we'll pop up some of it on here. Okay, yeah, this is way more complete than what I had downloaded. I thought I had the whole thing downloaded. So, and but that was just for the Sioux Falls one. There's oh my god. Okay, never mind. There was lots of tornadoes in as this thing moved forward. Okay, we got to pull up the Des Moines weather office on here. Let me see if I can find that and shoot you a link. And
gotcha.
Des Moines.
Yeah, this was just incredible. I don't think I can ever recall seeing so many December tornadoes.
Yeah, all right, let's pull this up because they got the brunt of it. They had tons of EF2 tornadoes. So let me send this to you in the Discord chat. And so there you go. And anyway, here's a nice radar of the event. Yeah, all the warnings and all the reports. You can really see the swirl of this low pressure system moving forward. And Like, this is so fascinating. Just seeing the big picture of how weather works, because it is not very. Because like up until just a few years ago, like I was just barely learning what a trough was. So to see an ejection of a system like this is absolutely nuts. All right, do you have the overview pulled up from the Des Moines one?
Yes, I have it ready.
All right, go for it then.
The first derecho in December anywhere in the United States, the first moderate risk of
Oh,
severe thunderstorms in
really?
December in Iowa since known records, unofficially the most tornadoes in Iowa in a single day, and most EF2 or F2 or stronger in Iowa in a single day since 1950. That is crazy. And
Hmm.
preliminary breaking in the all-time December record high temperature for Iowa are just a few reasons why the December 15, 2020 event is unprecedented and a historic event for the state of Iowa.
Wow.
The main feature was a powerful low pressure that rapidly moved from the Colorado Rockies into Siouxland and eventually over western Lake Superior on December 15th. Gusty environmental winds preceded a line of severe thunderstorms, which produced numerous tornadoes and thunderstorm wind gusts across the state and region. As of December 23rd, there are at least 43 confirmed tornadoes that occurred in Iowa, with 17 of those tornadoes being rated EF2. 43 43 tornadoes is unofficially the most tornadoes in Iowa in a single day, with the previous being 35 tornadoes on August 31st, 2014.
Wow.
Further, 17 EF2 tornadoes is unofficially the most EF2 or F2 or stronger tornadoes in a single day, with the previous being 16 tornadoes on June 7th, 1984. Prior to this event, a total of 6 tornadoes had occurred in Iowa in December since 1950, with all of them in southeastern Iowa. To have nearly 7 times that many tornadoes in one day occur across the state is unprecedented in any month, let alone the month of December. Straight line wind gusts associated with these thunderstorms were in excess of 80 miles per hour, with sorry if I butchered that, reporting the highest gust in Iowa, 88 miles per hour. This storm also met the criteria for a derecho, which makes it the first derecho on record in the month of December anywhere in the United States. That is
Wow.
crazy. After the line of storms had passed, numerous strong non-thunderstorm wind gusts over 70 miles per hour occurred overnight. The top 3 non-thunderstorm wind gusts were 83 miles per hour in Decatur City, 81 miles per hour in Marshalltown, and 80 miles per hour in Johnston.
So a little bit less than when it was in the Sioux Falls office area.
Mm-hmm. The Des Moines International Airport recorded a 74 miles per hour non-thunderstorm wind gust, which is the highest non-thunderstorm wind gust at this location since 1970. In addition to the severe weather and strong non-thunderstorm winds, the temperatures were remarkable and record-setting. Numerous record daily highs were broken, and by many degrees at that. In addition, in preliminary, the all-time December record high temperature for Iowa of 74 degrees that was set in Thurman, Iowa on December 6, 1939 was broken, with 4 sites reaching 75 degrees. Additional damage reports and analysis of satellite imagery are ongoing to refine current tornado paths and investigate and search for possible additional tornadoes. So
Hmm.
it's a completely unprecedented historic event.
Wow. That's fascinating. The reports, yeah, so there's the 83 mile per hour wind gusts. Ooh, let's take a look at the environment really quick. Oh, they've got photographs here this time.
Oh, did they actually?
Yeah. Uh-huh. So, under the environment tab. Yeah, let me pull up some of these. And so here's the wind shear on the right here. So you can see winds at the surface moving south, southwest, and then they move southwest as they go up. And oh, this is progressive. Ooh, so I just realized that this is throughout the different days. So okay, so these are 2 different photographs showing them. Anyway, can you explain how a hodograph works?
Sure, let me see if I can pull up the same one that you have.
It's just this first one here under the environment tab.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, let me pull up. Hello. Let me get you streaming here. Let's see. Were you streaming? Okay, there we go. It's
And I
loading.
think my Discord may have actually crashed.
Oh no. Okay. Oh, darn. Gotta love you doing this on the fly. But this is a way that we can get this out to you guys faster. So, okay, while you're working on that, I will pull up the... I'll go ahead and start reading some of this stuff. So, below are some animations and still images from the synoptic environment throughout the day Wednesday, December 15th into Thursday. Tremendous amount of shear and helicity was present on the cold front sweep across the region. This led to multiple tornadoes that occurred over Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. And so this is a loop of the 0 to 3, or 3... the 3-kilometer cape, and that's something that I'm always looking at for tornadoes, is because the more cape that you have down in the low levels, the better, the more chance that you have for an updraft to spin. Because, like, if you think about it, in terms of like a drain in your bathtub, like, you'll only see the whirlpool once the water level gets low, because that tightens up the vorticity there. And so the same thing in the atmosphere. The lower the cloud base, the more it'll tighten up any rotation in the atmosphere. So this is the helicity, or sorry, the cape as it just explodes and moves eastward. So these are things that Celton and I are always looking at the day of while we're storm chasing, and hopefully they're right. Yeah. So, anywho.
Except for when they're not.
Yeah, gotcha. So were you not able to get your live stream up?
Let me just try to share screen.
Gotcha. Celton can do a way better job at describing a hodograph than I can, so. And let me pull this up. Hey, there we go. So let me just bring up, let me get rid of my face so that way we can see what's happening here. Okay, great. I've got your stream up.
All right, sweet. So I'll just try to explain this as, in layman terms as much as I can. So what you see over here is this green line is supposed to represent your dew point temperature in the atmosphere. And then you've got your environmental temperature as well. And basically what you're going to see, it's a little difficult to see because they keep changing the graph on me. But this red line, and you see this dashed line as well, where that dashed line goes above the red line is the difference between the two. And that's basically what when we're talking in meteorology language, what we call a convective available potential energy, or CAPE. And the higher that value is, the more energy is in the atmosphere when a parcel of air, let's say from the surface, rises up to the tropopause. And the more energy that is released, generally, the stronger the storm is. And as well, if you look on the side here, these little wind bars, that represent wind's direction and speed as we're ascending up through the atmosphere. And what you want is, for supercells, you want that to be slowly turning with height. And you want to have a difference in speed, so you have direction and speed shear. And what that'll contribute to is, if you have a strong updraft that moves through that type of environment, it will move, it will tilt it over for the speed shear, and the direction shear will also cause it to spin. So you'll get the precipitation moving away from the updraft base, and the storm will begin to spin, and that's how you get supercell thunderstorms.
Gotcha. So, in your opinion, how well do these hodographs look if you were, I guess, out storm chasing?
Well, I mean, just looking at it, you can see that the storm motions, they keep changing it on me, so I can't really get a good
Can you zoom in, hit Control Plus on your keyboard a couple of times?
Gotcha.
Ooh, there we go. Yeah. Nice.
Let's see if I can move that over a little bit.
Yeah, there it is.
So you can just, I can just tell by a lot of these that the storm motions on this day are just going to be ridiculous. But there are portions you can see that is really capped environment right there. But
oh, what does the cap do?
It helps to hold down thunderstorm development in the beginning parts of the day to allow that potential energy to really build up. But too much of it can be a problem.
Right, because then a storm can't form at all. But of course, these storms didn't have any problem forming. So
no, they did not.
Right. Alrighty. Okay, well, it's getting pretty late here, so let me see if there's any other parts of this. Yeah, let me just read the Norse. Actually, can you read the near storm environment summary just a little bit down the page, and I'll pull up those things. before we move on. So those second GIFs there.
Yeah,
Just
got
go
it.
ahead and read those paragraphs right below them. Or yeah, start.
Right.
I just went through the Cape one, so do this. Actually, the second one there. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Surface to 1 kilometer shear vectors. Surface 1 kilometer vertical shear is the difference between the surface wind and the wind at 1 kilometer above ground level. These data are plotted as vectors with shear magnitudes contoured. 0 to 1 kilometer shear magnitudes greater than 15 to 20 knots tend to favor supercell tornadoes.
Yeah, and I'm seeing them well into the 50, or I saw 50 on here a little bit ago. So yeah, you can see as the whole line moves over, then this is all forecast data, so this all happened ahead of time. But so they could tell that this was a crazy thing. I mean, they had a tornado watch issued well ahead of time. Here's the significant tornado parameter again. So just forecasting that environment out there. Anyway, so thanks for bearing with us as we nerd out a little bit here throughout a lot of this stuff. So this is really cool. If you guys ever get out and go into and to storm chasing, like if you can like understand these numbers here, they can help out a lot. Like a lot of these, they are getting them from the website, the hourly mesoscale analysis. So, and there's tons of products on here. So whenever there's a big event, if you go through on these surveys and understand, like they explain what numbers mean what, then you can pull them up on here as well. So, like for example, which one? Oh yeah, some of the wind shear, storm relative helicity, I'm always looking at a lot. And of course, there's not much going on, but or it's in December. This is what it normally is. So anyway, so before we go sign off for the night, I wanted to go through some questions here. So I'll go ahead and start answering some of the recent one. If you would like to start at the beginning and see if there's any questions that you would like to answer on there, Kelton. So I'll go ahead and start now while you do that. And let's see. Pi, when is your next storm chasing season? Well, we'll see. I was storm chasing in March this year, or last year, so we'll see what happens this year as well. Although those storms tend to happen in Dixie Alley, so that can be a little bit as well. Let me pull up full screen again and get it so that Celton is not dominating the frame. Next time, I'll make sure to have some scenes set up so that I won't have to do this on the fly next time. So there we go. Anywho.
So Girl on a Quest asked if they think global warming is causing some of this.
Oh, I'd love to hear your opinion. What do you think?
Personal opinion, probably.
Okay.
But I can't say anything in an official capacity. There needs to be a lot more research done on it first. It's far too early to know for sure.
We need it. Yeah, there needs to be a lot more data. So, and like, I mean, you can look at short-term data, and yeah, temperatures have been going up on the short term, but you really got to look on the long term on these things. You got to be taking many storm fronts. I mean, if you just look back in the history of F5 tornadoes, there have been F5 tornadoes in December. So these things aren't completely out of the ordinary. They are a little bit as well. So, let's see. What else do we have here? What else do you guys have here? Is there a good weather movie that's not Twister or Geostorm that you would recommend? Honestly, I would much rather recommend some of the reality TV shows out there way more than some of the movies, personally. What about you, Celton? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, I mean, any type of tornado movie is always going to grab my attention, but some are definitely better than others. I mean, I think there's Into the Storm as well as another one that I know about. But you're never gonna get something nearly as realistic as the real thing.
Yeah, so I really like Discovery Channel's Storm Chasers. I believe it's on Amazon Prime. So that one is really good. There is some fake drama that does get introduced in some of the later seasons, but a lot of it is not. And I can attest to that after storm chasing for so long. That drama, like my sister Pi and I, we have gotten in fights when we've storm chased. So.
Oh yeah, it's 99% of it is just boring driving on roads, and then you get that 1% of just pure adrenaline.
Absolutely. Did you ever see the newest one, 13 Minutes?
I did.
What'd you think of that one?
I kind of had mixed thoughts on it. I mean, the way it was advertised made it look like there was going to be a lot more tornado footage in the movie, and it
Mm,
actually shows up very little. Sorry, I probably shouldn't say that. I don't want to get too much into spoilers
mm-hmm,
for those who haven't seen it.
mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah. So I have not seen that yet. Eventually, at some point, I'd like to see it, though. Yeah. Anywho, let's see what else we got here. Oh, thanks again for Rob Mendes for the other dollar too. Oh, you're so generous. All right. Um, let's see. There is. I thought I could have sworn that there was some other questions on here. That you guys were asking a lot of them, although we were in the heat of it, so that's why I was skipping through some of them.
Blake Baker asked if that was the worst tornado in 2021. Definitely the tornadoes that have occurred this December were probably the most deadly of the year.
Well, the only other EF4 was the Noonan Georgian one from back in March, right?
Yeah, I was near where that tornado happened. I was in Alabama on the other side of the border, but
Gotcha.
I couldn't catch it.
Yeah. So that one I don't think got up to 190-mile-an-hour winds, though, right?
No, I think it was barely an EF4. It was like, I think they
Gotcha.
rated it like 170 miles per hour. So low
Gotcha.
end EF4.
Mm-hmm. So. Alrighty. Okay, well, I think that about wraps it up for today. So this was definitely more of a nerdy live stream, so thank you all for tuning in and watch us. So definitely for the next time, for the next big weather event, we'll be diving into a lot of the radar again, and as well as a lot of videos as well. So, will you be... and oh, high risk Chris is in the chat. Hey Chris, how's it going? Into the
Hey man,
Storm is better than Twister, he says. So, yeah, and I'll definitely be chasing. So, what about you, Kelton? Will you be making the drive up here again?
oh certainly, I'm never gonna stop doing this.
Nice. Okay, great. So, well, that'll be fun when we both be able. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other at that point. Although Iris Chris, he helped me look for the drone too. So,
Mhm.
and he just lives up in Denver now, so he's pretty close. So,
And we
and
ran into each other again, like not even a couple of days after the 26th.
mm-hmm,
I'm sure it'll happen again this season.
yep. 214 milliseconds asks, are you planning on sending any drones into tornadoes? Oh, absolutely. That's been my goal from the start of storm chasing, at least when I seriously started. And so I did get my drone fixed. It just barely works. And so, like the gimbal sometimes goes, but for the most part, it kind of stays still if I'm not like maneuvering it too much, which I should just be able to follow the wind. As long as it doesn't keep crashing again. My next plan this time is to get it up really high so that if it falls again, then there will be a lot more air for it to cover. Do I still have the Lego candy machine? Yep, it's in my other room. I'm not. That thing has like 20 million views. I'm never getting rid of that candy machine. Man, if only I got into YouTube when I built that thing. So, but I don't think YouTube was even around at that point. So, anywho. All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on here, Kelton, and thanks for taking my Sister Pie's place, and thanks for making the drive all the way up to Kentucky to show us some of that aerial footage and some of the photographers. It was great to get someone's perspective that was actually there on the ground.
Yeah, certainly.
Mm-hmm. All right, so if you guys would like to check out his channel, it's Contrablast. At least for now it is. So, we'll see. So, let's see. I'll make sure to put his link in the chat or the description in a second here. And so, let me pop that up right now, wherever it is. Got so many windows open. Okay, and all right, there you go. There he is. Okay, well, thanks again, Kelton, for coming out here. So we'll have to do this again. It'll probably be I'm starting to get into the routine of editing videos again, so I will be Probably limiting these live streams to more significant events. You know, they won't necessarily be as crazy as this month has been, but
Oh my gosh, I hope not.
yeah. So, but maybe like once a month, maybe once every kind of 3 weeks, kind of thing. So that way I can get you guys the high quality footage as well. So. Anyway, all right, well, thanks for tuning out, guys, and we'll see you again next time. See ya! I hit end, is it gonna cut?